And welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is the show that demystifies technology, takes all those complicated terms, gadgets, gizmos, acronyms, and really just demystifies it so you can live a better technology life and help your grandma at the same time. Yes. And today on the show, Sean, my God, this is so exciting for me. First of all, we're carrying stick mics today.
Why are we doing this, Andy?
No more lav mics.
This is the future? This is the future of Lab Rats?
This is the future of Lab Rats if you factor in the fact that we have a live studio audience today. Welcome to the Trenton High School computer class, grade 10 and 11. And so all these guys came for a couple hours east of Toronto to come and see this episode of Lab Rats. And we thought, wow, what a great opportunity to do a mailbag, do a live mailbag. So all the kids here have come up with questions, and we've selected a few. They're going to come on up and ask us questions, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And we'll try to answer them as well.
We will try to answer them as well, exactly. It's supposed to be we're supposed to be in education mode today, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Educational.
Applause. All right, very good. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Lab Rats with a live studio audience on Mailbag today.
On Lab Rats.
And before we get started today on today's episode, I want to talk about hover.com, our sponsor, our friends, where you can register domain names. Now, I've registered andywalker.com, all kinds of different domains. And my guess is are you guys buying domains at the moment?
Yes, I am.
What domain do you own?
Yours.
Yours?
Andy Walker's.
Oh, yeah, no, but I'm saying, do you buy your own personal web domains? No? Anybody out here bought a domain before? .com or .net or anything like that? Oh, well, perfect then. So what's going to happen is, we're going to give you a coupon code here, right here on the screen for 10% off. You just go to hover.com and register your own domain. There you go. All right, now let's get started, Sean. So who is our first contestant?
Our first contestant is Troy McDonald. Come on down.
Come on down. Woo!
Oh,
all right.
That's convenient.
Hey. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good, actually.
Good. So you are a grade 9 or 10 student?
Grade 11.
Grade 11 student?
Yep.
Okay, great. And why don't you grab your question there?
Okay.
And just read it out loud.
Why is Windows Vista so insecure? It always asks if you want to run a program. Should I remove Vista and put Windows 7 on?
Ah, very good. All right, so great question, right? Because there's, when Windows Vista came out, I guess back, was it 3 or 4 years ago, one of the big problems with it was kind of replacing XP, which was about 8 years old at the time, right? And so they engineered a new thing called user account control. So every time you wanted to change anything on the system, it would say, hey, are you sure? Are you sure you want to change this, right? And it became a real pain. Now, it seemed like Vista was very, very insecure. But actually it's not. It was actually that annoying thing was actually an effort by Microsoft to make it more secure, because what happened was with Windows XP, what was going on with security at the time? Do you remember?
No.
Lots of viruses,
yeah, viruses,
right? Like, I mean, the era of Windows XP, there were tons and tons of infections, and it was notorious for being one of the worst operating systems of all time from a virus perspective. So Vista came along, and they made a real effort to fix that problem, Troy, right?
Okay.
So your question is, is Vista insecure? No, it's not. Actually, it's much more secure than XP, right? So should you upgrade to Windows 7? Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because Windows 7 is basically an evolution of Windows Vista. So it has all the security enhancements of Vista, but it's actually very, very fast. It's an improved performance. And Vista got a lot of bad press because, it was slow and it would crash and it was poorly compatible. And Windows 7 really is kind of the fix for Vista. So my answer to you is absolutely. Get rid of Vista, get onto Windows 7. It's a great choice.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Thanks for coming out.
And the nice thing about Windows 7 versus Vista is, as Troy knows, all the security alarms that came up on Vista, they've sort of tweaked that so it's a little bit less annoying, so it doesn't seem as insecure. Yes,
right. I think they put instead of having on or off now, they have 4 different levels of the UAC, or the user account control now, to make life a lot easier, so you can tweak it to your tastes and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Good question. Okay, Sean, who's up next?
Next up, we have a twofer. We have 2 students asked a variation on the same question. We've got Dylan Free and Rachel Maynard.
Come on up, Dylan and Rachel. Hey, Rachel, what did you do to your foot?
Rugby.
Rugby?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Okay. And Dylan, how are you? Nice to see you.
Good. You?
Fantastic. Okay, Sean. So when you guys get these guys to read their question, and we'll go from there.
All right. So, Rachel, what was your question?
My question was, depending on what computer you're using, what would be the better computer, Mac or Windows?
All right. And the variation from Dylan?
I'd like to get a gaming PC. I wanted to know whether I should get a Mac or Windows.
All right, so the question is the age-old question, Mac versus PC. A lot of people are seeing the commercials of, should I switch to a Mac? They're thinking, should I actually do this? And a lot of people are saying, no, Mac doesn't have everything you need, and a lot of people are saying stick with Windows. Other people are saying Mac is very virus-free. Now, I guess the big question is, what do you want to do? Obviously, Dylan, you wanted to do gaming on that.
Yes.
So there are more games coming out for the Mac these days. Steam has just released the newest versions of Half-Life 2 and the previous version of that for the Mac. So it is possible to game on them. If you have the highest end ones with great graphics cards, then definitely they do become gaming machines. But at this point, still the edge goes to Windows-based machines for gaming. Are you looking to do this on a laptop or on a desktop machine?
Desktop.
Okay. So again, from that perspective, the Windows machines are a lot cheaper to do the same thing. You can swap out the pieces very easily, put in higher-end graphics cards. You can add RAM to the Macs as well as you can for the PC, but all of the high-end gaming components for Windows machines is a lot more cost-efficient to do it on that.
Okay.
So, and Rachel, what were you looking forward to doing on
Just
the machine?
internet use.
Internet use? Now, internet use is a different story altogether. You can do that just as easily on either machine.
Yeah,
both.
Safari.
Yeah, so Safari is on the Mac. You can get Firefox on the Mac. Both of these machines are pretty good at this basic sort of use. So if you're just doing stuff like web browsing, you're doing email, doing word processing, that sort of thing, either's fine. Now, I guess the question then becomes, what's your budget for this? Do you have a lot of money to spend on it? Because the Macs tend to have a little bit of a price premium over the lowest end.
I have my parents' money.
If you have your parents, oh, there we go.
That's a good answer.
So in that case, I'd say you could do either. It just depends on what your tastes are. The Mac
MacBook Pro, 8 gigs of RAM, and a really nice pink case.
I don't think I'm into pink.
Not into pink. Okay, I'm so sorry. That'll cost you about $3,000, though.
I don't think I have that money.
With your mom and dad?
I'm not sure.
Break the bank.
All right. So are you looking at a notebook or a desktop as well?
Well, currently I have a desktop, but
Okay.
a notebook would be.
Well, we have running our background here. We actually have an iMac over here, and Paul can show this off. The iMacs are actually a really good alternative because when you go for a desktop, you have to buy the monitor anyways and the keyboard and all that. All that comes in the box, and those are actually not too expensive to go for an iMac with everything you need in the box, and they're fairly powerful too. So that might actually be a very good choice for you. The thing that you have to keep in mind is if you're running Windows now, then you have to replace all of the programs that you're using currently. There's a lot of stuff available for free, but definitely Mac is a good choice for you for that.
I think from a simplicity perspective, the nice thing about the Mac is it's all kind of prepackaged, right? You don't really have to add anything on. Whereas I find in the Windows world, it's great for tinkerers. It's great if you have a very modest budget and that sort of thing. So, but I think, yeah, I just switched to Mac recently, and I used to be a big, anti-Apple guy. But I have to say the Mac experience is fantastic.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is it does come with a lot of extra programs that you won't necessarily see on a Windows thing, like GarageBand, so you can make your own music on it. It has iPhoto built in, so all the things that you need to do multimedia these days seem to be pre-built in on the Mac, and you don't have to even think about that when you buy it. It's just right there out of the box. So.
Okay, well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Good work. Hey, look, they didn't even need the sign that time. They're clapping on demand.
There you go.
Okay, good. Next up is question for Christopher Irwin. Christopher Irwin, come on down. Hey, nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you too.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Nice to meet you. So grab your question here and let us know what you want to know.
I was just wondering what would be a faster connection. Would it be the fiber optic cable or the wireless?
Fiber optic cable or wireless, right? Very good. Okay, so I guess that requires a little bit of explanation because fiber optic is actually a flavor or a type of wired connection, but it's actually wire made out of glass. So if you have fiber optic connectivity from your cable company or from your telephone company right to your house, we're talking about the fastest internet connection you can possibly get today. So do you know if you have fiber optic capability in Trenton?
I'm not sure.
You don't know? Okay. So typically when you're going to go and get a wired connection from, at home, it's either going to be something called a DSL through a telephone company or a cable connection, right? There will always be fiber optics in the backbone of the network, meaning when it goes between two major places. But to your home, it's probably still on what's called copper. And it's actually, the metal copper, and actually it's known as copper wiring. So, but I guess the bottom line here is if you can get fiber service to your home, then you get the fastest connection. If you probably don't have fiber, though, would be my guess. But a wired connection over wireless is always preferable. It's always going to be one league better. So, for example, like today, you could probably go to Rogers or Bell and get an over-the-air wireless 3G connection for internet at home, and it's going to be 3, 4, maybe I think the maximum speed is 7.4 megabits per second. If you get a wired connection, some regions actually have 50 megabits. So you can see how much different the experience is going to be. So there you go.
Yeah, thanks.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming up.
And, what does your shirt say?
Oh, I can't really read it because I can't see it. But
I can type.
Can I
Type
Yeah.
300 words per minute.
There we
See?
go.
No, we can't. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, that was my question. We're going straight to
Right.
Teresa.
Yeah.
All right, Teresa. Teresa Hillier.
Hillier.
Come on down.
Come on down.
Hey there.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so why don't you read your question?
My question is, I'm thinking of buying a laptop, and I want to know which laptop would be best for editing pictures and videos.
An aspiring filmmaker?
Yeah.
Perhaps a future replacement producer for Lab Rats, if Matt misbehaves. I'm out of here. All right, very good. So, so video production, basically. You think of video and audio production. Good. So there's a couple. Video production is a very, very resource-intensive thing to do on a computer. So you're going to want to think about a couple of key things. Well, actually, 3 things really. Number 1 is lots and lots of memory. So your standard Windows system these days, if it's what's called a 32-bit system, which is sort of an older system, is going to run. You need 4 gigs is going to be the maximum amount of RAM or random access memory that you're going to put on the system. On the new generation of 64-bit systems, you can go up to a terabit of RAM, I think, is the architecture.
Quite a few more than that.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's going to be substantially more. So you want as much RAM as you possibly can put into the system. You want a very fast processor. So we have multiple core processors these days from Intel. In fact, there are quad-core processors, and soon I'm sure there'll be 8-core. I think on the roadmap there's 8 brains on these microprocessor chips. So that would be great because when you start to crunch the video, you need a lot of computing power to do that. Here at Lab Rats, what's the specs on our machine, Sean?
The machines that we use actually have 8 cores in them. I think it's spread across two processors. We've got 8 gigabytes of RAM on them. Reasonably okay video card, and that's one thing that's kind of interesting is for video editing, you don't need as good a video card as you would think, because video card is very important when you're doing things like gaming where you need to calculate things in 3D, but video is fairly flat unless you have a lot of layers. So if it's very basic, a basic video card is fine. And the other thing that's important is screen real estate. So if you're going to be doing this on a notebook, then you might want to be looking at something like maybe a 17-inch display instead of 15.
See, I'm the general manager here, and I control the budget, and these guys are always asking for like more and more stuff. I need more monitors. Oh, it's so hard to cut video on one small monitor, So, but anyway, so if you... I can stop recording anytime. I told you. See, they told you they complain. Anyway, the other thing you're going to want to think about is a lot of storage, right? So hard drive space. Video files, especially when you're dealing with production video files. I mean, how big would a production video file be these days? A couple of gigs, 10 gigs?
Yeah, so if you're looking at something that's from a mini DV tape or, say, a flash memory card, if you're looking at an hour, you're maybe looking at up to anywhere from 1 gigabyte to 4 or 5 gigabytes. We're looking at something higher end for us, so I don't know if we're looking at really high-end production. We're looking at maybe 16 gigabytes at a shot, so that's just for an hour of footage. So most people with lower end cameras, like more consumer friendly ones, can get by with a lot less.
So there you go. So and there was a lot of information there, and you can pause the episode later and go through it one by one. But so lots of RAM, lots of hard drive storage, as fast a processor as you can afford, and if you're greedy like Sean, a couple of screens. Okay? Thanks for coming out.
No problem.
All right. This is for you, Mr. Sean.
Right, and this one is from Zachary Forbes.
Come on up, Zachary.
So Zachary is a bit camera shy, which is why he's got his shades on, it looks like.
Cool dude.
I guess.
Hi there.
Hi.
So Zachary, what's your question today?
My question was, my computer beeps after about 10 minutes of me being on it. I'm not sure why. What can I do about this?
Now I understand that you've actually solved this since that point, but
Yeah.
let's take a shot at figuring out what the issue is. Now the first thing you're saying is, what are you doing on the computer when it starts to beep? Is it consistent?
Yeah, it usually keeps beeping if I don't log off. I'll be like on Facebook or just some internet site and it starts to beep.
Okay. Do you have pets in the house?
Yes.
Do you have smokers in the house?
They don't smoke inside.
You don't smoke inside. Okay, that's good. Now is it an older machine as well?
Yeah, I think it's like 2001.
Okay. The number one thing I find that causes computers to misbehave after a while is basically they're overheating inside. So you've got maybe tucked under a desk and it's not allowing the air to flow through, or it is getting dusty inside. So that would be the first thing I suggest, is take the case off and maybe clear out the inside if there's pet hair or if there's dust all over the inside. So that would be my first choice. Now, what did you discover?
That's exactly what I did. There was dust on the inside, had to clean it out, and that's about it.
Sean, you're a genius.
I agree.
So anyways, what you need is this stuff right here. Now, a couple important things when you're doing this. Don't use this when the computer is on, because you'll wreck some components. This stuff gets really, really cold. And make sure that you can use a vacuum cleaner. Oh. So the other thing is, you can use a vacuum cleaner inside, but be very, very careful when you're going in. We did an episode a while back on how to clean the inside of your computer. Just be very careful when you're poking around so that you don't break anything, because it can be a bit fragile inside. So anyways,
Also, one other thing I'd suggest too is, when you take your computer and you're about to disassemble it, not only do you unplug it, right?
Yes.
But also, before you actually touch the sides of it, you make sure you touch a piece of the metal frame to disperse any static electricity.
Probably a good suggestion.
Because otherwise you'll fry a component, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much. And good job. See, the shy ones are the best. It's amazing. See, you're the best one on the show, and you're shy.
maybe, I don't know.
All right, you see? I don't know.
All right. So
All right.
one last question, and this is from Ryan Chard.
Ryan Chard, come on down. Hey, Ryan! Hey there, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, so what's your question?
I'm thinking about buying an Apple product, so I'm not sure if I should buy an iPod Touch or an iPad.
Very good. Okay, well, Sean's got a little show and tell for you here.
All right, so we have a couple of devices here, and I guess the biggest question is, what do you want to do with these? You just
Whatever they can do.
whatever they can do. Okay, so we've got one of each here. So it largely comes down to screen real estate and power. So if you're looking to do just checking your email on this, surfing the web a little bit, maybe playing a small game or something, this is perfectly fine. However, if you want to do some of the new things that are coming out, higher end gaming like Need for Speed, then you probably want to look at something more like this, where you've got a lot more screen real estate.
All right.
So you see the difference in screen real estate here. So one is very large and the other is very tiny. So can't really do a whole lot with this. It's okay if you want to take it everywhere you go, but if you want to have something that's a more rich experience, do a lot more with it and almost treat it as a computer replacement around the house, then probably the iPad is where you'd want to go for that. Now, I guess the other question is, what's your budget like?
Well, I could probably afford both, I guess, depending on how big or how much the iPad is.
All right, so the iPad is actually being released in Canada this morning as we're taping this. So it starts at, I believe, $549 for the lowest end version of it, and goes up to, well, a few $100s more than that.
It's $899. I think it's the top end.
Okay, and that's the one with wireless connectivity built in.
Yes, it is.
Very good. So again, if you want cellular on it, so you can use it absolutely anywhere you want to go, even in the bush outside while you're camping, then the iPad is a great choice. If you just want something really tiny that you can tuck into your pocket, I think the iPod is the much more affordable and easy to carry choice.
If you want a music player, right, this is really big to fit in your back pocket, so it doesn't really fit. So So you kind of, so this is just a real quick tip, right? It's pretty advanced, but this fits better. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Zachary.
That guy's got a future in television, I think.
Yes.
Mr. Personality. Thank you so much.
Oh, he's
All right.
just shy. Don't make fun of him.
I can't. Well, you know, who did I make fun of at the very beginning of his career? I got my own back. Oh, well. Very good. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Some fantastic questions there, I think. So let's take a break. And when we come back, final thoughts plus maybe a special guest. That's after this. So welcome back to Lab Rats. Before we finish this episode today, there'll be no mailbag or no picture time at all, just because we wanted to get lots of content in here. But I did want to invite our special guest up. This is Daniel. He's the teacher from Trenton. Come on up, Daniel. Welcome. See, Sean, this is better than picture time. We actually have a real person here.
Yes. If you want to appear on the show, just drive hundreds of miles and come down. So.
Anyway, so tell me about how did you kind of find us?
Well, I got interested in podcasting, and I am interested in technology. So I just did some Google searches about innovative podcasting on technology. I came across your show. This is a few years back.
Did you find us via a search engine, or?
I think I may have been using Google. Mm-hmm. And so I found you, and there were some other ones. I recognize some names like Leo Laporte and This Week in Technology, I think it is, Twit.
Twit, yeah.
And then Lab Rats just caught my attention, the name of it. And I think one of the first episodes I saw was a food demo, and you got me from there. And I'm not sure if it was the Hitachi perpendicular storage on disk or with the cheese or the marshmallow burning. Anyway, it was great. And then I started showing it to my classes, and they would be so focused. So for a few years, I've been showing it. And then I stumbled across you on Twitter, right, and sent you a tweet. Yeah. And stumbled across you as well, and met Matt as well. And you guys are such great hosts for having us here and making us feel so welcome. Really appreciate it. You're so welcome. It's just fantastic to have all you guys here, and it adds a new dimension to our show. And we've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and it was just a perfect opportunity. So thank you for coming. Thank you very much. So one final thought. So. In terms of education, because I know we get a lot of people out there, as our audience, there are teachers. Right. So, this kind of information, I guess this kind of content is good because it's educational, but it's also entertaining for the kids. It's educational, it's entertaining, and it speaks at a level that, as I think you alluded to, your grandma would understand. So it appeals to a very wide market. And it can be used in multi-leveled classes, multi-grades. It can be, used outside of just a computer studies classroom. It can be, some of your episodes have to do with consumerism. What type of flat screen television should I buy? Whatever it happens to be. Internet safety can be used in cyber safety and smarts presentations as well. So you've got such a wide repertoire of offering. I think just about any teacher can fit it in somehow. Great. Well, thank you so much. So if you're a teacher out there in Lab Rats land, send us an email. Send us a picture of your class. That's what Daniel did. I'm not sure if we can have you down to the studio, but certainly we'd love for you to engage your classroom with us. And you never know what may come of the email, because that's what happened for you, Daniel, right? Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, thank you so much for coming out today. Do you want to close the show? And thank you very much for watching Lab Rats with Andy Walker and Sean Carruthers. That's it for us this week. See you later.